What's behind the current wave in South Africa of anti-migrant protests, some of which have turned violent? For weeks, groups have marched through parts of the country, ordering undocumented foreigners to leave by the end of the month. Several countries have repatriated hundreds of their citizens, including this batch of Nigerians who left on Wednesday night. At least 2 Mozambican citizens have been killed in the violence, and it's the latest in a recurring wave of xenophobic unrest that has left foreigners, even those with legal documents, worried for their safety.
The experience that I have here in South Africa is terrible. I'm 14 years here in South Africa. Since going up and down, not stable. So I rather give up for me to go home with my life than going home with injuries.
I cannot excuse the fact that, it's all over social media. I mean, the ongoing unrest, the 30th of June of 3 year, So I'm aware of that. So I decided it's time for me to go home.
Now, the rhetoric among the protesters involves blaming immigrants for social problems in South Africa, like crime and unemployment, even though analysts say this is scapegoating.
Enough is enough. We want our country back. We are not at all xenophobic. It's unfortunate because now we are misinterpreted around the world. We are not xenophobic. We have welcomed our brothers and sisters for so long, and we have lived with them for so long. But now it's time for them to just go and leave us to clean our country.
South African President Cyril Ramaphosa has promised to take action against the vigilante groups stoking violence, and he's warned the public against taking the law into their own hands.
We will and must not allow groups to use the legitimate concerns of South Africans to destabilize our country through inciting lawlessness and violence. We will act against forces who are exploiting the concerns of our people about illegal immigration to further their own political, personal, and criminal agendas. We will not be fooled or influenced by social media campaigns that spread misinformation, fake news, and lies about people who are in our country.
Let's bring in Daniel Steyn, Deputy Editor at Ground Up News, a South African news agency that focuses on human rights and social justice. Daniel, it's good to have you with us. President Ramaphosa has spoken about the people protesting. He's actually said they have legitimate concerns. Do you agree?
That's a tough question. Whether or not the migration of people from other African countries to South Africa is a concern, I guess is up for people to decide. We do have thousands of people entering the country to find work, mostly in contravention of our laws. But our laws are quite restrictive. If you think about it, it's very difficult to move to South Africa and find work legally. So the problem is that the laws actually do not allow for the numbers of people who are coming to South Africa to work in the country legally. And whether that's a concern is subjective. I would argue that it's not the concern that people think it is. The problem is that people are blaming issues such as unemployment, crime, poverty that the vast majority of South Africans experience, blaming that on the immigrants coming to the country, and blaming illegal immigration as well as immigration in general for our socioeconomic conditions.
I suppose it's even a problem putting this at scale, in form of scale, because first of all, South Africa has a problem tallying the number of undocumented migrants in the country. So is it even possible to prove or even disprove these claims against them, particularly on crime?
Yeah, we actually have no idea how many immigrants are in the country without papers. And by papers, I mean valid work permits. You'd find many people cross the borders, perhaps with passports and get tourist visas, perhaps cross borders through unofficial entry points and just come into the country. And we have no idea how many there are. In terms of crime, there are a disproportionate number of immigrants in South African prisons, but the vast majority of them are in prison for immigration law offences. So people who were caught in the country without the proper documentation. So what that means is that we can't say, it means that there's no evidence that immigrants disproportionately commit serious crimes in South Africa. And the anti-immigration movements and protesters that have been gaining traction lately, they maintain that immigrants are responsible for the majority of crime in South Africa. And for that, there's just no evidence.
But this is not the first time there's been this kind of wave of anger against migrants. I'm just wondering what sparked the anger at this particular time?
That's a complicated issue, and I think multifactorial. As you say, xenophobia is not new in South Africa. Anti-immigration sentiment is not new. Many of these myths and misinformation that we're seeing around immigrants in South Africa date back at least 20 years. For example, when Zimbabwe's economy collapsed and lots of immigrants from Zimbabwe came to the country with valid permits, I must add, we saw a big surge in xenophobic rhetoric and violence. Over the past 5 years, it seems that there have been coordinated social media campaigns spreading this misinformation, spreading anti-foreigner sentiment. You have bots and paid accounts that amplify anti-immigrant voices. And that's all happened over the past 5 years, which suggests that there's some money behind this. Where that money is coming from, we don't know. Hopefully we'll be able to shed some light on that. Hopefully journalists and the authorities in South Africa will be able to investigate that and shed some light on what lies behind this.
And Daniel, the authorities seem to be on the sidelines, or rather reactive at this time, when serious threats are being made against migrants. Why do you think that is?
I'd hate to speculate too much, but I think, to an extent it would be unpopular for the government to come out strongly against these attacks and proactively protect immigrants, even though that is what they should be doing.
Interesting. Daniel Steyn, Deputy Editor at Ground Up News. Thank you very much for speaking to us.
Thank you.